What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Bricks and Toys. And right now, I'm in a particularly really good mood. If you guys have been following along with our December videos, we started off with the Neuschwanstein Castle, almost said Neuschwanstein, and in that video, I said I found out that 2 weeks into December, we're getting a visitor, and a visitor is my mom, and I bought some Lego sets to build for her as a Christmas gift, and she bought some Lego sets for me to build for her for Christmas gifts. I found myself with 4 Lego sets to build and only about 10 to 12 days to do it, so less than 2 weeks. Well, guys, we are 5 days in on this journey as of today, and we're already on the third video. We just wrapped up doing the bouquet of pink roses all in one night, and with our spare time before I go to bed, which is just in like 30 minutes to get ready for my day at work tomorrow, we're here with the Mogwai, and it's Gizmo. Super pumped, super happy, really feeling the energy right now. I mean, it's going to be like a major screw up for us to not make the goal. It's basically December the 4th right now. Tomorrow's the 5th. We have 6 days to finish the Mogwai and a Book Nook. If I screw this up, it's going to be crazy. There's no way I could not get these done. So let's talk about our Gizmo today. I am super excited. I know, guys, I already did a small little bit of like internet review video on this set because I didn't really think I was going to actually ever get a chance to build this. I didn't think I was going to get to build this set because I just didn't think my mom was going to be actually interested in it. And when she visited, she actually was interested in Gizmo. Unfortunately, she chose to buy other sets to allow me to have the family Christmas tree to review for you guys and for our decorations for the holiday season. And like with the bouquet of roses in the last video, I bought this for my mom for Christmas because I'm just a cool son like that, I guess. But anyway, this movie, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I've seen it probably a few times as a kid. It kind of creeped me out. I think there's sequels to it where one of them comes out of the toilet, not in Gizmo's form, but in the Gremlins form. But the whole thing about coming out of the toilet and biting you in the ass while you're trying to go poop, that was a bit much for childhood me. But my mom always played these movies, and she really liked them. Fun fact, if you watch Gremlins, the first movie, the town backdrop is actually Hill Valley from Back to the Future. Check that out if you've never really thought about it or noticed it. Am I going to be accurate with today's review? Nah, as close as I can be. I'm not going to shoot for the moon of being 100% accurate. Last time I watched this movie was probably 2 years ago, and guess who it was with? My mother. Of course. So before we dive into the box review and start unboxing Gizmo here and all of that good stuff, and adopting our Mogwai into our family, there is 3 important rules about the Mogwai that we all have to respect. Number 1, do not get them wet, because if you do, they're going to multiply faster than rabbits. 2, do not put them in direct sunlight, as that will kill them. And most importantly, never feed your Mogwai after midnight, because that's when you get gremlins. So now that we have all those rules laid out, let's go over this box. Now this is Lego Ideas number 69. Not 67, but 69. Our number, not the Gen Z number. This being a Lego Ideas set, this is the traditional 18 and older style packaging. Black box, is set and posed, greebled bottom. Simple as that. At the top of the box, we got the name of the set. Below that, we have the Lego Ideas 69. Below that, we have Gizmo. Now, looking at Gizmo on the box, He looks great. Anything else to say about him? We'll save it for the actual review segment of the video. Dropping down, we can see he is holding the famous 1980s 3D glasses, and we have the Lego logo, and then we also have the Gremlins licensing logo right down here. On our greebled bottom down here in white, we have the Lego Ideas indication, 18 and older, set number 21361, with 1,125 pieces. Now at that particular point, I do want to say, to buy this set, it does cost you $109.99 here in the US, so basically $110 for all of those pieces for our lovely Gizmo. Now, moving over to the side of the box, it's just a plain black side with the name of the set, Lego Ideas, country of origin, and our do not eat it. Moving over here, we have a kind of a back shot of Gizmo with a little bit of water on him, which is not a good thing. Besides Gizmo, we have Lego and Gremlins once again with our Lego Ideas number 69. Looking at the top of the box, we have just the front little top part of Gizmo's eyes. Again, Lego Ideas 69, Lego logo, Gremlins, and a 1-to-1 of one of the pieces. And speaking of Gremlins, here is my baby Gremlin right here, or Mogwai kitty, Kiki. Goodbye. We are filming. Anyway, that's just a cat. I can get that wet, but it does not multiply. It wants to kill me when I get it wet. Looking at the bottom of our box, we have the traditional Lego.com, Lego app information, recycling information, Legal Eagles, barcode, and all of that. And then to the meat and potato, the back of the box. This is where we get to really know our set and if we want to buy it. This is the marketing portion of every Lego set. And starting off, Lego logo, ideas. It explains the Lego Idea program right here. We can see the set is now in a sitting posture, so you can stand it or you can sit it, but as we can see right here with our pictures, 1 and 2, you can't do both. So that's our first two pictures besides talking about the sitting pose he's in. And it says model cannot be built simultaneously. So pick one. Our next picture down here is the actual picture of our Mogwai Gizmo from the movie Gremlins back in the 80s in all of his nice, furry, cute glory. And then above him, we do have the dimensions of the set, which looks to be about 10.5 inches wide. Most of that width is in the ears. I'd say at least 50% of it. And then we do see he is 8 inches tall from his feet to the top of his head, which is basically the top of his ears. And guys, that is our Mogwai Gizmo. Super, super happy. So happy now. We got to cut open this box. To cut open this set, we have two pieces of tape here and here. So let's go ahead and let's do that. 1 and 2. And then we'll give you the first look of the set, just like that, before I get a look into it. How's the box packed, guys? Yeah, it's got some good dead space. Now let's do our pour. With 1,100 pieces, I'm going to make the assumption that we're going to have 12 bags total. So we're going to count these out in a second, but I do want to note our book is not wrapped in an envelope. It is loosely floating around. Let's count out these bags and see how many bags we actually have. So kicking things off, we got a bag 1, we got a bag 2, then we go over here to bag 3, to a bag 4, bag 5, then we have bag 6, then we have bag 7, bag 8, 9, and 10. So I overshot it by 2. We have 10 lovely bags to get this one built. Now, back to the book. We have our QR code for our 20 points. We have just a quarter of the head of Gizmo. Then we go into our book. We have the typical builder app information. And then we have some refreshing information about Gizmo, probably the designer that came up with him, and probably about the design process of collaborating to make him with Lego, and some stuff from the original movie. It might be kind of fun to go back through and read through all of this and kind of see what the artist's original interpretation of this guy actually was. Let's actually just try to take a sneak peek here. Yeah, we can see him right there. That's what he originally looked like when he was submitted to Lego for this idea, and I really think the work with Lego actually improved him a little bit. especially in size and stuff. So sometimes with the Lego Ideas program, it's a hit, and sometimes it's a miss. And I think in this case, it's kind of a hit that they collaborated and improved and not took so much away. And then after all that information, on page 11, we kick it off with bag number 1 and we get building our Mogwai. Now let's zoom over to the back of the book. We have all of our part information, all of that. We have some Lego Ideas promotion. And then we have what looks to be a total of 217 pages of stuff. But on page 216, we build our final step at 334, which is placing the little water droplet on the small of his back. And guys, with all that excitement, we have to come to an end. I have to get my butt to bed to go to work in the morning. But as soon as I'm off work tomorrow, I'm going to get this all built. And none of that matters because you guys get to see the review segment right here. Okay, let's dive into our review of Gizmo. And before we start getting into all of his details and things like that, I just want to clearly state, obviously, we did the sitting posture, which is kind of like the secondary posture, which makes him less than 1,100 pieces. And I can tell you that by the amount of pieces we have left over. So when you do put him sitting, this is something that you do get, is all the extra pieces. But no big deal. Just set those aside, mark the bag, and that way you know if you ever want to switch them out, you definitely can. The next thing I want to talk about that's not really on the build itself, but in the build, is in the instruction booklet. And that comes with this little detail right here in the instructions. Gizmo does have a little diamond-shaped heart. Isn't that nice? That's pretty freaking cool. So now, let's get back to reviewing Gizmo here. So let's start off with the accessories, which is going to be the water in the small of his back and those 3D glasses. Starting off with the water, this is held on with just 2 studs, just like that. It's easy to remove. You don't have to keep it there. But if you don't want to lose pieces, it's easy just to stick it there and have it there anyway. The next thing is those 3D glasses, which went over here. And looking at the 3D glasses, well, there is no side bands or arms on them or anything. With the build technique of these red and blue pieces, they don't even go into any studs. They're kind of just sat in there, and the only studs are actually on this side and on this side when you put those clear transparent pieces on. They still look pretty cool, but they are clearly a simple little afterthought build to add a little bit more detail to our Gizmo. Now, a lot of people want to try to put these on Gizmo, just like this, and this can be achievable by using maybe some bricks on those top studs. Really simple to do. Actually, the more you look at it, the easier it is. I can think of the piece right now that I could use to make that stick, but the actual question is, would it actually look that good? And I don't think so, because the way that his face is done is at some really interesting angles. We obviously have his front of his brow above his eye, where it's slanted in, and then it's kind of flat down here at the bottom, and then he has that cute little nose and mouth. So I think it was a good idea that the designers left this to where it can be just sat and cutely held by him. Continuing to take a look at his head, we can see the white detail, the brown detail. I love the little feathering of the ears right here to add a little bit of fur to the actual ear itself. Lego ears on creatures, it seems like hit or miss these days, and I think they actually hit it really well with this one. There's no negative studs, there's no plates, it's all done by bricks. And then we have these nice little plates in here in the corner that have some curves and cheese slopes and stuff to add some extra detail. So you're not going to find really any negative spaces besides that right there on these ears, and I think they did a really good job with them. And if you want, you can pose them however you choose. So I say good job on the ears. On this side of the head, we got the same thing with like the little feathering of the fur. We already talked about the slope of the eyes. We've already kind of pointed out the mouth and all that, but it's done with this really nice pinkish color, as we've seen on other builds before. The 2 eye prints look pretty good and cute, not complaining there. I like how on the top of the head you can see some studs of brick, thus reminding us that this is a Lego model. I like my little subtle giveaways when building my Lego models. Coming over here to the back, we've already gone over the water, it sticks right there, everything else, slopes and all of that. And this is all onto a plate that sticks onto a bunch of studs, kind of like everything else on the side of this. It's kind of like a core, then plates stick on it, and then we do our arms and our feet. Going to our arms now, we can see we have these really interesting roof tiles from like Ninjago sets added into this set to add where the extra fur is and all of that. I think that's an excellent, awesome detail. I love the cute little fingers and toes using those little tiny elements and some traditional elements we've seen before in that same color, like around the nose and the eyes. Same thing goes for over here. Movement is up and down, and also we can move the hands in and out, and then we can move the individual little fingers and that as well. And if you want to get even more technical with it, you can kind of pry the fingers apart and push them together if you really want it to. Overall, the arms are a simple build, but I think it looks really good nonetheless. Then we get into the feet. Now, here is where it gets really interesting. I want to say, for starters, the feet look incredible. I love how you, like with the ears, you don't see any negative studs or anything. It's all flat brick, tiled off very nicely. Same little tips for the toes as they do for the tips of the fingers. We can see the use of those roof shingles in the legs as well to flare off the footing and all of that for the fur. Looks great. There's also detail taken out of his chest plate here of all these slopes to allow these feet to sink in. Now, if we pick him up and we look at the bottom, we can see 2 connection points. So this is where the legs would clearly connect if you did them standing up. Like I showed you with that other bag of brick, you would have to add quite a few bricks to finish off his belly plate right here, and to finish off those legs to where you could stick them in there. So it is a little bit of a transformation to switch them back and forth. Thus, that's something that I will not be doing in this video because, well, I just don't have time to keep taking him apart, putting him together. I built him sitting because he looks really adorable with his little fingers and his glasses sitting down just like that. I think Lego did a really good job on this Ideas model. I don't think that they took anything away. I think they actually gave some things to it. And I cannot wait to gift this set to my mom for Christmas. And with all that, let's wrap up the video. Now let's wrap up this video about the Lego Ideas number 69 Gizmo. And what are my final thoughts about this set? Well, let me grab something really quick. And here is my first thought. When I originally thought about this set, I immediately compared it to our Ewok over here, Wicket, and I was like, it's too similar. Now, when I thought that originally, I subtracted the idea of, well, sitting versus standing. One of my biggest things with this set was the standing part. I really don't like how they're making these sets where they don't have a base, especially when they're 18 and older, unlike this guy. Something should be there that when you do put him in a standing position, he's not going to fall if a cat walks by or something like that, because accidents happen all the time with Lego. But the biggest thing here wasn't just about the standing, it was the size. These two are so similar in size. They come off of the heels of one of the other, and it was just, I didn't want to have two very similar sets. Is it a Mogwai or is it an Ewok? I mean, all these things probably came out of a very similar studio in Hollywood, so I just didn't see it fit in my collection to have something so similar. But now that we have him built, we can see how these two sets can live in the same space if you are on the fence about buying him, kind of like how I was. We look at Ewok over here, and he is a stud, and not in that way. No, he is full of plates and studs. It almost looks like an old school Lego set when compared. When you look at Gizmo, he is well finished. Everything is so nice. They really put in the attention to detail on this guy because he is an 18 and older set. There are still some studs, but compared to him, wow. They did a really clean job with this. Am I kind of rethinking everything? Yeah and no. If I didn't build this for my mom and I bought it for myself and I forced myself to do it, I would have absolutely no complaints at this part of the video. I would be happy to see the official differences between the two, and I'd be happy to accept that both of these can live in the same system in my collection. But our guy here is going to go to my mom's for Christmas, and I'm not buying another one because Well, everything one day of my mom's will eventually come back to me, so it can live over there for the time being. So to sum up this part of the video, this guy is completely just awesome. Like, I can't get over him. Like, when you look at our guy here, you see all the negative studs and everything, and this is what you would expect when you saw this set originally, and Lego just didn't do it. And 2 thumbs up and a 10 out of 10 when it comes to the polishing of Gizmo. Now, one thing that I don't really like about Gizmo here is the legs up or the legs sitting. That is the big thing here. When I was going through the pages of the model, it said page 66 for standing, page 96, I believe it was, for sitting. And I just scrolled over, started doing him sitting. The reason that I picked sitting was because he just looks like a bundle of joy and he looks really cute. I really wish that there was something in the book, in the description, somewhere along the lines that did highlight the amount of pieces that would be left over and versus of standing, and then the degree of how much you have to change to make them from one to the other. It's not as simple as snapping off the legs, adding a couple connection points, and boom, you can put him in a standing position. No, you basically have to rebuild him from the bottom down. You got to redo the whole front plate and his legs to get him to be reattached in the other configuration. Just wish that there was a little something in the book to clarify that with me. I have no regrets on putting him standing. I'm glad that I did it for you guys, because now you guys have seen the extra pieces. You guys are now being told about the steps that you can't really easily undo if you wanted to go back and forth. Going back to the detail, though, about him sitting versus standing, I am really thankful that just going out on a limb and building him to sit, the bottom of his feet are so polished. I think that is just a perfect cherry on top. I do like how on the bottom you can see those 2 little cross-axle points right there, and that does give us a little bit of a reminder that, you know what, he can be put standing. And the last thing about sitting versus standing with our Gizmo is he is no longer an 1100 piece set. There's at least 100 pieces or less left over, maybe about 60 or so pieces left over from the transformation. He's still around 1,000, but he's no longer the 1,100 piece set. You definitely notice when you transition from bag 4 to bag 5 and you start doing these changes, you definitely feel that it's now a smaller set. Like something is wrong and something is smaller. Because by the time you get back to, I think it was bags 7, 8, and 9, and 10, when you build his head, that's when you feel like, oh wow, we're back into it again, and it feels pretty heavy because now there's a lot of detail going into it. So just know that when you do sitting, it does change the whole feel of the build. Now, how do I feel about the price point to the build? Well, the build did not itself feel like a $100 build. It definitely didn't really feel that way to me. Felt more like a $70, $80 build. But when you get the finished product and you see how polished it is and how everything's tiled off and completed, well, I guess that's when you get your other $30 or so out of the build, and that's in the look. Do I recommend the set for $110? After looking at it, and compared to Wicket the Ewok, yeah, definitely do. I really, really do. The tax on this guy is a lot lower for Gremlins licensing, and it definitely shows. The quality of design and work in it definitely shows. If it's for yourself, definitely check it out. If it's for a gift to someone that loves the Gremlins, definitely check it out. You're not going to really go wrong with the set. Just know that maybe build it standing up if you want to get the full $110 value out of the set. Sitting will leave you feeling a little bit left to be desired and with extra pieces. And with that, guys, I don't have much more to say. I love it. Kind of wish it was for me, but they'll come back to me one day. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting the subscribe button to follow along with everything that we do here. As usual, hit the thumbs up, the like button, drop your comments down below. Did you get him? Do you like him? Love to communicate with you guys on him. Up next on the channel, we're going to be doing the Harry Potter Book Nook, and then that completes our Hurry Up and Get It Done saga of Lego builds this month to give to my mom for Christmas. Super excited. We got one to go. Still got a whole week before she possibly shows up, so we're definitely going to make this happen. Thank you guys so much for watching. You all have a good one.